Welcome guys to a new video. Today we're gonna look at a Dagger throw build that is also linked to Poison Cloud. So let's check it out. It's gonna be a level 100 character on the top rankings in Asia. He's top 100, I think around rank 40 something in Asia, which is quite impressive. That is probably way harder contended than the European server. This is the global version of the game though. So everything showcased in this video is also available in Europe and in North America. So it's not the Korean version that has been out for a long time. It's the same version of the game that we are playing. Okay, let's look at it. He is using Dagger Throw, linked to multi-shot, elemental damage amplification, find weakness, trigger ability, mana storm, and quick attack. The trigger here is linking us into Poison Cloud, also with find weakness, concentrated area damage, strike, elemental damage amplification, and he is also using mana storm on that. So that's quite good, very strong, very strong. Vital Strike is used for a crazy amount of crit here, and it's linked to increased duration, time acceleration, and dampen resource cost. Siphon Life is used for the lifesteal as a defensive cooldown, and it's also linked to increased duration to dampen resource cost. Seal of Striking, a big damage boost for any strike skill. It is also linked to dampen resource cost. For the movement skill, he's using Dodge Roll, linked to Disarm, and Use Count. And both of these are also linked to Leap Attack as the offensive movement skill. On the side here is Shout of Provocation with buff activation when hit, so it automatically activates when its character takes damage. And that's also linked to Shout of Power. Shout of Justice here, also linked to a trigger, which is activation buff upon afflicting crowd control. So whenever you stun, I think blind also counts, or freeze, and this should be activating itself. And it is linked to Hush Shout. Okay, for the gear, let's look at it. He's using the daggers here, with a crazy amount of crit. Air Chill Knife here. And Fire Chill Knife. So Chill Knife is the choice for the weapons. And as you can see, it is absolutely crazy. Your 10 crit rate, your 10 crit damage, some attack and spell damage, some hit rate, which is also tier 10, insane, and tier 9 attack and spell damage. And the enchantment even gives plus 5.2 attack speed. So crazy, very crazy daggers. And for the legendary enchantment, he got super lucky, I think, by getting gear critical rate. So 53 crit rate on the weapon here. I've never seen something like this before. Critical damage as the enchantment, 98% quality, that also helps a lot. Tier 10 speed, tier 8 poison damage, tier 10 critical rate, tier 10 critical damage, and damage amplification against enemies affected by dot, which most poison counts as. I think Toxic Flame doesn't count for this, if I'm correct, but most poison damage should count for that. For the helmet, insane armor base with plus 70% armor, plus tier 10 armor, so this is like buffing each. This is also buffing this, so that's a really high number here. No quality, I'm kind of surprised by that. Maybe he identified the item like this. Some chaos resist, fire and lightning, so triple rest, that's very good. Some magic find pauldrons, powders here for essence drop chance. Also some chaos resist, some damage, and some melee damage, so quite good. This one doesn't on this melee though, right? Okay, so the melee damage here is not. The Poison Cloud benefits from it. so that is quite good. Plus 3 spell damage skill rune on the body armor. It's like a no-brainer. Every build wants the plus 3, whether it's attack or spell that you boost, but it is absolutely needed for hitting the insane damage numbers. And that is on a armor base. It is also buffed, so crazy amount of armor here too, with lots of chaos and lots of lightning. Relic gauntlets, these are used for almost any crit build, I think. Lots of elite damage, lots of crit damage. And if, depending on what weapon you choose, you get a lot of crit rate here in this case, so that is absolutely very powerful, very powerful. Movement speed tier 10, very nice. Also armor base with some melee damage, lightning resist, fire resist, hit rate. Yeah, very good boots. I'm jealous. I am jealous. The critical necklace with poison damage enchanted. Tier 10 elemental damage, tier 8 poison damage. And double resist and all rest. So this is crazy. Some barrier and some minion health. I don't think he's happy about these two, but cannot change that once you get it, as far as I know. Let's see here. Tier 10, -4 mana cost. That is quite strong for mana sustain. 170 health on the base here, plus another percentage health. Poison resist, all res. And the enhanced potion effect. So that is quite strong. Assume the minion health enchantment here is only needed for hitting these two crafts. They're probably the main goal for the belt here. Attack crit rate on the rings, some attack speed, elemental damage, even more attack crit, critical damage, so insane ring here, cold resist, very impressive. Enchanted ring with poison damage, attack crit, elemental damage, attack speed, health, tier 10 crit on damage and crit rate, that's insane. And plus 11 stats, not the worst, not the best, but it certainly helps out. Yeah, let's look at the charms. The caster charm here with elemental damage, that is quite strong. Next caster with elemental damage and dual wielding, so two really good stats here. Elemental damage crit if the enemies are on range. Attack crit rate crit if the enemies are on range. That is quite good. Another big crit mod. Spell dodge rate here probably doesn't matter too much, because you're often under the 80% threshold. And even more crazy damage. Damage is insane on these. Also a lot of damage here. And he found a Chaos Star, or crafted that. I didn't know that was possible yet. Thought that it's only available after Act 11, but that is nice to see that people can actually get those already. So spell critical rate here and damage when dual wielding. Quite strong, and it adds to 60 caster blessing, so he can actually hit caster blessing 140% with elemental damage amplification. So that is absolutely crazy. Didn't know that was possible yet. Okay, let's look into the Zodiac here. Int is 120, Dex 150, and Strength 255. And on the first trait, he's taking lots of damage, some attack speed, not all the attack speed though. On the second here, he's going into all of the relevant damage nodes. On the third, attack hit rate, some damage, some health, some resists. On the fourth, attack speed, hit rate, crit, and damage. Before going into the fifth, you will come up here. I'm gonna show the fifth first. So, yeah, damage, armor, elemental resist, health. Fairly standard so far. On the sixth, it's going into poison penetration, also very standard. attack speed, crazy amount of it, and all the crit. On the 7th, actually going into potion effect, and especially the mana potion, the potion he didn't skill. And he's also going into all of the crit here, and all of the damage down here. So quite strong on that. Let's see all of the dual wielding, except for the cast speed, which would also increase the mana cost by a lot, so makes sense since you have limited points. Maybe he's gonna get that next. Oh wait, he's level 100, so he cannot get that. So he actively chooses not to get that. That is interesting. And mana cost dampening up here and some mana regeneration. Very interesting. 5% mana cost dampening. I didn't know it's that strong. Maybe I need to try that once I have mana issues. That seems to be very powerful. Okay, let's come to the special talents up here. Convert mana, that's a big mana gain, but you lose health. This is like lets you regenerate a lot of mana. Acceleration, that is crazy good on almost any build. Attack speed, cast speed, movement speed, and elemental penetration here instead of overpower, which I think is interesting. But maybe since he's not gonna take the overpower effect here, maybe overpower is less strong than the elemental penetration you get here. On the 2nd, he's going into knowledge, which is cast speed and damage, and into elemental damage amplification. But this also makes you take more elemental damage, so note that. Note that down. It's bad for your defenses, but a big damage boost. Very big damage boost. Sharpness effect and sharpness, which gives crit rate and crit damage. So since he's crit, that makes a lot of sense to take that. And he's going into mana cost amplification, but elemental damage amplification. So mana cost goes up even a lot more, by a lot more, but the elemental damage is buffed like 15%. That's crazy good. 10% damage amplification against crowd controlled enemies. So yeah, as we said earlier, I think that's from blind, but I'm not quite sure how he is crowd controlling it. And against debuffed enemies. The debuff is, the blind is also a debuff, but also shock would count as a debuff, for example, or chill would count. Elemental damage and the additional lightning damage, which is quite powerful in almost any build since it allows the enemy to become shocked. So debuffed enemies also works on shocked enemies, so since he is shocking with that, it also counts as debuffed the enemy. And shock applies a debuff to the enemy, which makes it take way more damage. So yeah, that is quite strong. Okay, yeah, other than that, we can see the damage here is insanely good. Health is very low, no barrier. Resists aren't fully maxed even yet, but the armor is crazy. So this is for a level 100 guys. Most of the times you will be running like 93, 95 maps. So that's gonna be even higher percentages on 93 maps. Quite strong here, quite strong. Let's look at Dagger throw. Lots of damage here. The crit chance 84%. That's not counting the Vital Strike buff yet. So that is very impressive. And crit damage almost 3 times the damage. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. On the Poison Cloud, another 1.3 million DPS. With lots of crit too. No surprise here. So yeah, Poison Penetration, he has 38, he has 17. Very strong build. Yeah guys, I hope you like it. Last but not least, we're gonna look at the Avatar of Scepter here. That's the choice for him, with cast speed, and elemental damage amplification. A lot of people seem to play this. Toxic Flame players also play this a lot, so a very powerful relic here. Yeah, recovery, cooldown recovery. So yeah, if you like the build, maybe you can try it out.